So welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be unboxing the new Bitaxe Gamma Turbo. So we did do an unboxing of this maybe around 3 months ago, where the kind of unreleased version was deployed, and that was this version, which is the 800 version. I believe that was scrapped because a lot of people started selling this. So this came from Power Mining, but it was only an unreleased version. They didn't actually release the 800 version that you see in there, but a lot of other producers and sellers did release this because it was on the GitHub. But I believe that the official release is the 801, which is now the official release from Power Mining, which is available. So I did actually put a link in a lot of videos talking about the 800 version. So anyone that signed up for an email notification would have got that when this released from Power Mining. So I don't think there's much of a difference, but we're going to be unboxing this as the kind of official unboxing of the Bitaxe Gamma Turbo, turning it on and then showing you where we're actually pointing it in terms of our hash rate. So nice new design on the box as well, with kind of the outline of the Bitaxe Gamma Turbo. You have the Power Mining logo there, the 12 volt thing, the LCD, and then the Power Mining stand, the boot and reset by there. And that should mirror basically what you have on here. So if we just do it side by side, you can see 12 volt is by there, LCD is by there, Bitaxe logo, 801 version, and then the boot and reset, and then fans by here. So first thing it comes with, obviously with Power Mining, we always have these box of stickers that it comes with, and a setup guide / user manual that you can use to actually set it up. Obviously, we've done a lot of these setups, so we know how to do that. But if you are just new to this, this will run you through kind of troubleshooting and how to set it up. I will show you in this video, but for the purposes of this, I'm not going to read it from here. So once we've opened the box, you can see here a newer heatsink and a newer fan model that they're actually using. I'll try show you the old heatsink now. So all the heatsink was just this basic heatsink that you see here. Kind of that's where the chips would be, 60 millimeters, I believe. And then the thermal pads for the voltage regulators would go at the top by there, where you see those kind of residue of the thermal pads. So obviously the power supply, we'll get into that in a minute, but let's just show you the heatsink that they're working with. So definitely a bit of a different design, if you can see in there. This one has a curve on it by there, and also some fins on the side. So a little bit different to what you're seeing on the old heatsink. And then the fan is also, I believe, a better fan to actually draw the air in and give it better cooling. So they always have this kind of signature ridge design that they're doing on a lot of the Power Mining upgrades, I guess, for the heatsinks. So you can find that on the Bitaxe as well. And then a little bit different to what we saw kind of on the 800 version, which I particularly don't necessarily like, is the fact that the fan header is now moved there. I kind of liked it in the middle and it looked a lot cleaner. They have kind of a different look to the board now. So you got this kind of snail pace thing versus the Bitaxe that's there. And then kind of the regulation stamps on there. But it does have by here, if we look at the bottom, Bitaxe 801 by there, or in there. That's pretty much it. Same thing. Most of the components moved to the back now. As I said, I like the look of all the components moved to the back. It makes it a lot cleaner. And then you have the, let's get that to focus, the boot, and then the reset button by there. And it comes in a nice stand from Power Mining. And that's what the stand looks like. So you can just place it like this, and it kind of just stays in place. So we'll leave that to the side. Next we have in here the power supply, so a bit more of a rigid power supply compared to the last one, which was kind of flimsy and put together, but it was a prototype, so I kind of understand why that was. And then interchangeable for whichever region you're in terms of UK, EU, or the US. And it comes with all three of them, so you can just click it into place. So it goes on the bottom there, and then clicks into place like that. And then you just plug this side into the Gamma Turbo. So it just goes into the side there, a lot more rigid, so you don't have to worry about it coming out or pulling out. We'll probably end up sacrificing this one again, like we did with the other one, to actually wire it up to a power supply. because we like having, 3 or 4 Bitaxes on each power supply, just to make sure that we're not losing too much in terms of the efficiency and the power draw at the actual wall. But we can plug it in now and give it a whirl. So we'll just take it off the stand for this demonstration. So there we have it plugged in. You can see that it shows up the Wi-Fi thing by there. In the LCD, you can probably hear the fans blowing on there. And all we need to do now is log through on the computer or on your phone and bring up the actual Wi-Fi that you have by there and log. So if you want to learn how to do that, I do have a video. Just type in how to set up Bitaxe or Bitaxe 601, which is the original Gamma setup video. But you basically log into this and enter in your Wi-Fi SSD. So we'll get that up onto the computer and then we'll move on to that now. So after letting it run for about 10 minutes, we have got some kind of numbers that we're going to go through. This AXOS actually looks very different to the normal AXOS that we're operating with. As with kind of any new miner that comes through, we actually don't really update the AXOS that often on the rest of our miners. So when we get a new miner that comes through, we actually see the updated version of the AXOS because I can't be bothered to update it. I don't really think it's making major improvements at this point, and it's not really adding more hash rate necessarily. But I do like the look of the hash rate register, definitely, because it allows to see on what cores of the chips you're actually functioning in terms of hash rate. And we saw this on the Zyber 8 quite a while ago when we updated the firmware on that, and it was showing that some of the chips weren't registering when we were using the underclocking method to try to get it more efficient. But it does give you a view of basically what the chip is doing overall. And for example, if you try to underclock this to the lowest underclock, it would tell you on what chip and what core in that chip, I believe it's a core, the hash rate is actually malfunctioning at. So for example, if you had all of these lit up in red and this one was in black, it would mean that this wasn't actually functioning on the chip at that core voltage or frequency that you're using to underclock. One thing I want to note is the input voltage is slightly higher than 12. I don't mind that, but we could just overclock it to get that to come up to around 12. I'm not worried too much about it, but the ASIC frequency is also set very low, so we're just gonna have to change that as well when we change the pool. ASIC temperature 1, ASIC temperature 2, very good to see on that. We could actually do a split test now based on and different thermal paste split test against each other. I don't think it would be necessarily fair because the cooling might be a little bit different on the chips in terms of one of them might actually just be more efficient. And you're kind of seeing that by here where this one's functioning at 58, but this one's functioning at 60. Fan speed is around 68%, and voltage regulator is at 58. Up here, we just have the hash rate, the error, and then expected hash rate, efficiency, expected, shares, and then best difficulty, kind of like the normal thing. And you can also click in here. I believe you can see all of these as you go down, and you can also change this one as well. So if you wanted to see different metrics against other ones, you can see that in here as well. Nothing really else changed. The log looks the same. Swarm is scanning, but I'm sure it'll find the other Bitaxes that are online currently. So this current version is 2.13.1, and that is for the XOS and the firmware. And now let's kind of get into our settings on this. So firstly, just going to up the frequency to probably 600 at this core voltage, and then just save that. It'll probably restart now. And we're also going to change the pool. So it was pointed towards power mining, and now we're going to point it towards our solo hash pool by here. So we take our address, put that into here, and we'll just put Bitaxe GT2, Gamma Turbo 2, password is going to be X, and the solo hash is by here, solohash.co.uk by there. So copy, paste, and then 3333. And I think we just save that and restart. Hopefully we get it loaded up to solo hash and we can see the hash rate on there. And the Hash rate has also increased because we overclocked it a little bit. So it says up here when I restarted that you don't have a share in the Coinbase reward. Don't really know what that means, but you guys can let me know in the comments. Maybe it's just a refresh thing. So after doing a quick bit of research there, it says that this basically means that the pool you're mining to does not have your wallet address as the payment destination for the work your miner is doing. If your miner hits a block, the reward is going elsewhere. This can happen because you're mining to a pool that sends the reward to the pool's wallet first and then gets distributed there, common with shared pools. I'm assuming on Solo Hash they do that because they have a fee that is actually tacked on to what you're mining. So this means that when it's actually paid out, it will charge the fee and then the rest gets paid out to you. And we can also see the Bitaxe Gamma Turbo there. It's just not keeping up with the hash rate now and needs to submit more shares. This is actually getting very, very hot very quickly. So the fan speed is nearly 100%, trying to keep it at 60 degrees. I don't know why that is happening, but we can go here and try undervolt it a little bit to keep the temperature down on this. We'll see if that can bring it down a little bit, whilst also keeping the hash rate there. So expected is 14.71 joules per terahash. We'll have to see how well that heatsink works. I'd also like to see more heatsinks for the Gamma Turbo. I know that there's an upgrade where you use the NerdQX heatsink for the Gamma Turbo. I don't really think that it's possible to do that with just a standard model. You need to change the fan header to the other side of the board if you really want to do it properly. Doesn't look like the voltage is keeping up there, so let's go down to settings. Actually, let's just check the hash rate register. So this is what I was talking about. There is certain times when these actual chips won't light up because the core voltage is too low for the chip to actually turn on. So they all have a minimum operating voltage, I believe. I'll put it to 1100 and hopefully that changes on the hash rate register here. So it still doesn't look like it's turned on, but give it a little bit more. So there we go. We just had to reduce the ASIC frequency to 550 and then they lit back up. So I think it's a fine balance between obviously ASIC frequency and the core voltage on that. So it couldn't operate at a frequency of 600 whilst also having the core voltage so low. It was doing too much work, but then they light up as soon as you move that down. I'll have to do an overclocking video soon. The efficiency currently is sitting around 15 joules per terahash, which is very good. The previous one was actually sitting at 18 joules per terahash on average, which was worse than the Bitaxe Gamma, the original version. I like having them at around 15 joules per terahash because that's probably the most efficient you can get with the Gammas just out of the box without doing any upgrades. So we're just going to leave that run on Solo Hash for the foreseeable future. And then we are going to also look at mining on the Quai network in the next video, as we did make a video talking about how to set that up. And then we have some results mining on that. So we'll make that video later on. If you guys do want to get 10% off Power Mining, you can use the link in the description for the Bitaxe Gamma Turbo. This is the official released version and it helps support the channel. If you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this.